Okay, we are live.
Great. Okay, good evening, everybody. We will call to order the regular monthly meeting of the City of Helotes Planning and Zoning Commission. It's 7 p.m. We're conducting this meeting virtually by teleconference, video conference. And before I ask the Commission Secretary to call the roll, I would like to remind everyone, please make sure that your computer or phone is muted when you're not speaking to avoid feedback. And if you are in chambers, just make sure that you are close enough to the mic so that we can all hear you. And with that, I'll ask Ron if you would please call the roll.
Greg Michelle.
Here.
Jason Whiteman. Ron Haza. Joe Edmund.
Here.
Richard Hawk.
Here.
Mario Rios.
Here.
Jeff Wade.
Here.
Mike McLaughlin.
Here.
And Ernest and Marion from staff.
Ernest and okay, so Cruz and Mary Mendoza from staff. And is Alex Blue online?
Alex Blue is online.
I am.
Good.
Mr.
Good
Chairman,
evening, Alex. All right, so we have Alex from council. Do we have any citizens to be heard?
We do not have any listed, but we do have one extra caller that just joined. Can you please give us your name? Oh, go ahead and close the second. Okay, you can go ahead and go ahead and,
Okay. We'll continue with our agenda, which brings us to the discussion and action for the minutes from our previous meeting, which was held on May the 5th, 2020. Should have found that the minutes in your packet of material. If there are any changes, edits, revisions, please bring those to our attention now, or we can have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes. Haza, is there a second?
I'll second it. This is Mike.
Okay, thank you, Mike. The motion is to approve the minutes of May 5th, 2020. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Okay, the motion is approved unanimously. Minutes are approved unanimously. We'll go to our next item tonight, which is item number 5, which is discussion and action on a preliminary and final replat pursuant to Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, Section 4, that's subdivision, vacating the previous plat, establishing Service First Helotes, Blocks 3 and 4, Block 1, previously platted as BBVA Compass Bank Block 1. There were materials in your packet regarding this, and I understand we do have the applicant on the line for this one. Remind me, please, Mr. Marion, which individual is with us this evening for this one?
it's Gary Smith.
Okay. Mr. Smith, we may have some questions here as we go forward. It's a little awkward, the arrangement with the, all doing it by phone. So please we'll go one by one through the council members, and if there are questions, we'll direct them to you.
Okay.
Everyone had received the material, the great documentation, and I think the best way forward probably is to go around the room and allow everyone who has a comment to make it. I'll do it really, I think, in somewhat of a roll call fashion. I apologize if I don't go in any particular order. I don't think I'll be doing this alphabetically. But if you do have comments or questions, please, when I call on you, you're gonna be the time to bring them up. So again, this is for item number 5 that we have in front of us tonight. I'll start with Ron Haza, you're in the room. Do you have any comments or questions for the applicant, Ron?
No, Mr. Chairman, it looks pretty easy. They just split the lot they had.
Okay, thank you. Mario Rios?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to, it does look pretty easy, as you said, but I did want to confirm or get clarification that, the part about the storm drainage has been addressed in this, action we're taking tonight.
Let me turn to staff on this. Ernest, is this still in need of the stormwater management plan?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so, Mr. Smith, you're aware that that still needs to be forthcoming as this advances through the process?
Yes, we're communicating with the city engineer, so we're working on the presentation. We made an initial submittal of a stormwater management plan, and he asked us for some additional detail on the study, so that's what we're going to provide.
Great, okay, thank you. Let me turn it to, let's see, Joe Edmond. Any comments or questions regarding this item?
Mr. Chairman, I think they just answered any question I had about drainage. So other than that, I have no other comment.
Okay, thank you. Jeff Wade?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, my only question is, and this is probably just my miseducation or under-education on this, but if you have like on keynote 14, a 14-foot electrical gas telephone cable telephone easement, but then on number 15 right next to it, only a 10-foot building setback, that means that they can build 4 feet on the easement? Yeah, well, the building setback was previously platted. That was a city requirement, so we just left it on. Yeah, we don't intend to plat within 10 feet of the building line, but to answer your question, yes, that's what it means. You could build up to the building setback line. However, due to CPS requirements, and you need to stay outside of the 14-foot easement for the electric.
So should this plat not show, number 15, being 14 feet?
Well, again, we're just reflecting what was platted on the previous plat. We left that 10-foot building setback on. It really doesn't apply in this case because the Service First site plan shows the building far away from the setback line.
And that's where on lot 4, but on future development on lot 3, I don't know, Chair, I'm not sure on that, where it's supposed to go or be. Ernest, any?
The actual building setback for that zoning district is 10, but the more restrictive one will prevail because of the 14-foot utility easement. They can't build into that, so they will have to maintain that 14 because of the utility easement. So it's more restrictive.
Okay, so they are restricted to the 14 foot, but then, so the plat doesn't have to show that, it can just show 10?
Yeah, the platted setback is pretty much for structures only, but being that there's a more restricted one, they'll have to, if that 14-foot utility easement is on that lot, they'll have to maintain that 14. They won't be able to encroach into it, so they wouldn't be able to go into that 10-foot building setback line.
This is Mike. I think where there might be some confusion is, he's correct on the more restrictive. So what that means is the water can go closer to the street and the electric has to go further back, if I'm reading it right. So it kind of leaves lanes in the ground, if you will, for the utilities in addition to the surface development that you're asking about.
if the 14-foot, if there is an actual 14-foot dedicated easement, then they can't encroach into that with anything. It's dedicated for the
Right.
utilities.
Right.
And four. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Let me go to, Mike, back to you, if you have any additional comments or questions on this item.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I do, and it's a matter of curiosity more than anything else. On the, I guess it would be the east side, towards lot 3, what is that niche in the drawing? What is that going around? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, where it shows the L1, L2, L3 at the northeast corner of lot 4. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of the site plan for Service First. We needed a couple more parking spaces, so that's going around to keep the parking spaces on lot 4.
Okay, and so maybe a follow-on to that, the way the proposed plat is, because I don't have the building footprint pretty much sitting here with it. Is it comfortable on that 1 acre, 1.3 acres? That'll work out?
Yes, the plans are approved and the permit's been issued and the building's under construction.
Well, yeah, I know it was. It was just more a matter of curiosity on my part. I wouldn't think it would make it impossible or anything, but I was kind of wondering about it more than anything else.
Yeah, it's a tight site, no doubt.
Okay, and so you'll have enough room for traffic management and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay. I know we're not getting into that part of it, but it has a secondary effect when we start redrawing lines here. Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes.
Joe, any comments or questions? Did I hit you already, Joe? I'm sorry. I think it's Richard that I asked. Richard, do you have any comments or questions?
No, Mr. Chairman, it looks like everything's been covered. I don't have any questions.
Thank you. The only question I have, and again, is just to verify, make sure I'm understanding this right, Mr. Smith. Lot 3 will have access only to Hausman Road, is that correct? It will not have Bandera Road access?
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay, so unless there are additional comments, and I don't believe there are, this would be an appropriate time for a motion, making note of the fact that stormwater management plan still needs to be forthcoming. That would make anything conditional at this point in terms of this recommendation. May I invite someone to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, this is Mike. I would like to make a motion.
Please.
Okay. I move to recommend approval on the preliminary and final replat pursuant to Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, Subdivision, Section 78-74, replatting without vacating previous plat, establishing Service First, Helotes, Lots 3 and 4, Block 1, previously platted as BBVA Compass Bank Lot 1, Block 1, more particularly described as BCAD Property ID 1273906, with the stipulation that the stormwater management plan be submitted and approved as a condition of further final approval as a recommendation.
Is there a second on the motion?
This is Mario, and I will second that.
Thank you, Mario. Mike, and then Mario, do you have any additional comments or comments on the motion, I should say?
So thank
This is Mario, I'm good on my side.
And Mike, you said you were okay?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Any comments from anyone else on the motion? Okay, the motion is to recommend approval of the preliminary and final replats pursuant to Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, Section 74, subdivisions replatting without vacating previous plat, establishing Service First Helotes Lots 3 and 4, Block 1, previously platted as BBVA Compass Bank Lot 1, Block 1. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This is Mike, aye.
All those who are opposed, please identify yourself and say aye. Okay, so this is approved. Did the dog just vote? I want to thank you, Mr. Smith, for being on the line. I should clarify, when I read it back, I left out the conditional part, the stipulation that Mike had put in the motion. So to be clear, it was that this was conditionally approved based on the submission and approval of the stormwater management plan. So apologies for not reading that back. And Mr. Smith, I believe this goes to a public hearing when it goes to city council. Ernest or Marion, can you verify if that's correct and what the date of that will be?
That'll be July 23rd, too, on a public hearing.
July 23rd?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I think we're good there. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for joining us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Item 6 for us this evening is discussion and action on a preliminary and final replat pursuant to Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, Section 74, subdivisions, replatting without vacating the previous plat, establishing the Bandera Oaks subdivision, lots 9 through 30, 902, 903, and 999, Block 2, previously platted as Bandera Oaks lots 7 and 901, Block 2. And I believe it will be, let's see, Wayne and Paul who are on the line who are with this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. We're going to do it the same way. I'm going to invite the members of the commission to weigh in with questions or with comments regarding this particular item, and then we'll put it before us, so please a motion. So at this time, I'd like to, I'll try in roughly the same order I did it before. Let me first go to Ron, who's in the room. Ron, do you have any comments or questions regarding this particular item?
Mr. Chairman, just curious on the driveway is blocked off of that lot. Is there just a right of way through there? That driveway isn't marked with this lot?
No, sir, this is Wayne Flores. The driveway, as currently platted, is part of Block 901. However, Versatera did not purchase that part of Block 901. Therefore, we are only replatting the portion of Block 901 that he did purchase, and the remainder, which is the driveway, will be left per this plat at the new boundary for Lot 901. This is Mike. Can you clarify a little bit? I'm looking at the drawing on the computer. So what we're replatting tonight is that I guess it's an account number 1308636, and then where the driveway is 1308638. Is that correct? Correct. Okay. And so we're only replatting the 636. Is that my understanding? I'm getting turned around.
And just so you know, we do have easements in place with the owner of the commercial site that was previously built, including that 901 lot, to use for our subdivision.
So just to go back to make sure Mike's point was answered, the 636 is the one that is what we're dealing with here this evening. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay, thank you.
So that was Mike. Ron or Mike, did either one of you have anything further?
No, Mr. Chairman.
No, I'm still a little bit confused, but I'm tracking on what we're focused on tonight. I was just looking at
the rest of the drawing, but I'm good.
So if you want, maybe Wayne or Paul, if you have the electronic version, do you have the electronic version with you that you could reference which page would be most useful for seeing this? What the commissioner's asking about?
Which page, can you repeat that question? Which page what?
Yeah, just to make sure everybody is keyed in on the particular drawing that would be most useful for seeing this. I mean, the plat itself is in here. So I'm just trying to help make sure everybody's looking at the same document.
I think probably page 2 of the plat.
It's attachment C, page 2.
Yeah, there you go, page 2 of the actual plat.
Okay.
Oops, I just. Okay, let me shift over to, let's see, Joe Edmond. Any comments or questions?
No comment, Mr. Chairman.
Mario Rios.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just still digesting all this. I appreciate you guys singling out what we're looking for on that attachment number that I just read out. But I'm still digesting and making sure, so I want to, if you could come back to me, sir.
That's fine. That's fine. Let's see, Jeff Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, 2 comments. One, I would like to see on the tree preservation, like 901 to retain more trees than what is shown on the proposed drawing. If that's not going to be developed, I don't understand why we're going to cut trees out of there. And then my second comment or question here again is along the top part that butts up against Cedar Street, there is a 30-foot building setback all along there. But it looks like on footnotes, they're cutting back lots 21 and 22 back to 15 feet. It still doesn't look like lot 23 will make the 30-foot back. So here again, is that an easement? Is that, or is that just building setback from the property line?
Yeah, this is Wayne Flores. I contacted Ernest today because I noticed that building setback. That was a drafting error on our part, and I notified him immediately when I saw it. The 30-foot building setback was from the previous plat. With the replat and for the agreement, we will be going back to the other building setbacks that are shown, lots 20, 21, 22, and 23. And so Ernest told me just before it goes to council to fix that. So the 30-foot building setback will only remain on lot 902.
Wayne, can you talk a little bit, sorry, this is Paul with Versatera. Wayne, can you talk about the drainage ditch that is on the other side of our property line? I think at one point we had measured that to the fence line of the lot that back up to us, and it was much greater than 15 feet.
Yeah, what we're talking about with building setback goes to our property line, but actually behind our property line is a big drainage easement, and all of the homeowners along that boundary, their fence line is on the north side of that drainage channel. So in addition to the building setback that we have, which meet the code and meet our agreement, there's an additional, I believe, 20-foot easement before you get to their actual back.
Okay, thank you for that. I want to return to the Commissioner's question, understanding about the setback. If I understood, I was Wayne or Paul, that the 30-foot setback remains on lot 902, but you're indicating that on 901, there was a drafting error and it should be, is it 25 foot?
It's
No,
20.
It's 20 feet, Mr. Chairman.
20?
Yes. And it's annotated in the development agreement.
Okay, so it's in the development agreement is 20, correct, but it's on here on the plat, it is noted incorrectly.
right, that line is drawn incorrectly. It will be fixed prior to going to the city council.
So we can roll that into a motion to make sure that that's addressed as well. Okay, Jeff Wade, did you have anything additional?
No, Mr. Chair, just, like I said about the tree preservation on site. I misspoke, it's lot 902 now, the new lot 902, that I don't understand why they're demoing trees out of there.
So Ernest, is that part of the planning process? Is that addressed here or no?
I don't know what trees you're talking about demoing. We don't have anything listing that they will be demoing any trees in what will become lot 902. Isn't that correct, Wayne?
I don't have the tree preservation plan in front of me, but I do recall that behind lots 28, 29, and 30, there are several trees in there. That area has to become part of the retention basin due to the way the thing drains. Currently, that area can flow into the detention basin, and so we have to include that. And if I were, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, I believe maybe we excluded those or showed them out because we were afraid they might die from this. Obviously, we are trying to set every cost free. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this is Paul Busseldo from Versatera, I guess. One thing to keep in mind is that with our landscaping plan, we are going to be planting several trees along the edge of that 901 lot, as well as the side of lots 1 and lot 22 at the entry to try to capture, a nice little entryway. Those trees that are behind those lots that Wayne called out, that potentially could be damaged because of the drainage that we need to get done, we're going to do everything we can to save them. But they're going to be somewhat in a low. And that's the way we have to kind of build this thing to get it to drain to that detention pond.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
thank you. Richard?
Is it safe to speak? Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
Thank you. And I think, let's see, we'll come back to Mario Rios. Any comments or questions?
I just want to thank Commissioner Wade for pointing out the tree. That's what was on my mind initially, but I think the team has done a great job of breaking that down, but I still am not clear on, I know that you can't give a tree count and all that, but I take it from the gentleman that spoke a moment ago, I didn't get his name. I appreciate the leadership of the team being here on that, but I think that the trees that are being taken away or removed, I would take it that there's trees that are being replanted. I heard that statement made, but is it tree for tree or is it just in general widespread? Is it planting trees in certain areas?
Well, beyond the landscaping plan, without even taking the landscaping plan into a thought, we will meet the tree ordinance. And we have several heritage trees on the site that we're
paving, as part of the development. Obviously, on these houses that we have to sell for a pretty good price, we need to have some trees out there. And then on top of that, on top of meeting that tree ordinance, we are going to be planting landscaping trees as well.
I
That answer your question?
Yes, sir, that's great. And just my final question, or just a thought, but, Cedar Springs is a long-established community, subdivision there. I take it we're being sensitive. I heard the dialogue about the setback, but as far as, being sensitive towards the separation of both areas, as far as, I know that's hard to describe in words, but I'm just trying to make sure I understand. I would guess these are strategically being placed, or there's some greenery for separation, for, lights, or whatever that might, disturb the other side. Those are just my thoughts.
Well,
Yeah,
one of the
I
things
think-
that, go ahead, Wayne, you can do it.
Okay. Yeah. That kind of goes back to a lot of trees along that back fence line that are part of our save area. And we're saving it specifically for that reason, for the buffer.
Thank you, sir, for your clarification.
Okay.
But that, Commissioner, on top of that, Commissioner, this is Paul again, part of the reason that we laid this out this way with those, what I would call longer driveways, is so we have minimal impact on Cedar Springs. So there's only 4 lots up to get, that are touching the property of Cedar Springs. And so I think this is when we met with zoning commission, that was one of our selling points to them, that, we're trying to have the least amount of impact on folks that have been there for a long time.
I remember that, from the last, presentation on this, so yes, thank you for saying that.
Okay, thank you. Paul or Wayne, just for my own purposes, make one comment or question here. The entry to the property, to the residences, it'll be between lots 1 and 22, is that correct?
That's correct.
Is there
Well,
a,
let me clarify one thing. It's actually between lots 9 and 30. We had to renumber this because the initial layout I had showed lots 1 through 22. But
please make sure your phone is muted if you are not talking. So it's 9, 30 to 1 and 22, I see that.
yeah, the 1 through 22, that conflicted with some of the existing commercial lot numbering. So that's why we had to change that.
So my question relates to if there is a required emergency secondary access to the property beyond this.
There's not. We've met with the fire department and they've agreed that due to our lot count, we are not required to have secondary access.
Yeah, and I can speak to that a little bit, because we were thinking about adding the property next door, and if we had, we would have gone over the international fire code requirement of having 2 access points at the 31st lot. And so we went down that path, but again, the fire chief said it's not needed if you're going to stick around at 22, and we would have loved to make this subdivision a little bit bigger, but the guys next door wanted, I think they think that the land is sitting on gold. And we couldn't make it work financially.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying. I think at this point, unless let's see if we can get a motion out there, and then we can discuss that. And based on the conversation, what I've heard is that we ought to have, part of the motion is conditioning this on just fixing the notation on the plat regarding the setback on lot 901. To be accurately listed as 20 foot. But at this point, I'd invite a motion.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mike. I'll take the motion.
Thank you, Mike.
I move to recommend approval of a preliminary and final replat pursuant to Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, Subdivision, Section 74 replatting without vacating previous plat, establishing Bandera Oaks subdivision lots 9 through 30, 902, 903, and 999 block 2 previously platted as Bandera Oaks lot 7 and 901 block 2, more particularly described as VCAT property ID numbers 1308636 and 1308638, with the requirement that the notation be corrected on number 901 as we discussed.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll make a second. Ron?
Was that Ron?
Yes.
Thank you. Mike or Ron, do you have any discussion on the motion?
This is Mike, I haven't.
This is Ron, and we'll make a note that the setback to be fixed on 20, 21, 22, and 23 to 20 foot.
And that's correct. I agree, that's correct.
That's right, thank you, on lot 901.
I just want to point out, Commissioner, that this replat is contingent on completion of pending requirements, which is the tree preservation plan, the stormwater management plan, and the traffic impact analysis.
But that is independent of this process, is that correct?
Is it correct? Is it independent? Okay.
Yes, yes, it is.
That's a separate process that it needs to go through, is that correct?
Right, those things need to come back before we finalize the plat.
Okay, so should that then be rolled into this motion?
Right. Doesn't need to be rolled into motion.
Yes.
It does?
Okay, I'll amend my motion, but what were the items we're needing?
It was stormwater management, it was tree preservation, was there something else?
Traffic impact analysis.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I amend my motion to include, requirement for stormwater management plan, tree preservation plan, and the traffic management plan as part of it.
And Ron, is that all right with you?
Yeah, I'll concur.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else care to, make a comment, on the particular motion before us? Okay, to read back the motion we will vote on here, the motion is to recommend approval of the preliminary and final replats pursuant to Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, Section 74, that is subdivisions replatting without vacating previous plat, establishing Bandera Oaks subdivision, Lot 9 through 30, 902, 903, and 999, Block 2, previously platted as Bandera Oaks lots 7 and 901, Block 2. With the stipulation that the lots in, the lots in 901 be correctly identified as having 20-foot setbacks, and that the tree preservation stormwater management plans both be submitted and approved, as well as the traffic impact analysis. All in favor of that motion, please signal aye.
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 Anyone opposed to the motion? Okay, so this motion recommending approval passes, and Ernest and Marion, this will go to council, is it the 23rd of July?
Yeah, so go as a public hearing and then for council consideration.
So public hearing as well, okay. Great. Paul and Wayne, thank you very much for joining and answering our questions this evening.
Yes, sir, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
That brings us to the end of our agenda, and before we take a motion to go out, I just want to thank everybody for persevering through the virtual setup. I think it worked pretty well tonight. Looking forward to the opportunity to have a full video going forward. And I expect that we'll probably be in this virtual format, according to city staff, for at least a couple more meetings based on how things are going. But thank you everyone for, your work tonight. And with that, Ron, do you want to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
This is Mike, I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor of adjourning, please signal aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. We will stand adjourned at 7:40 PM. Thank you all very much again, and stay safe.
Same here.
Gentlemen.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.